in case somebody wants. Okay, here we go. Okay, today we will focus on reviewing for the first quiz, and we'll also talk a little bit more about phonology. And I might even explain what we're kind of doing in the future. So Tuesday, I think next week I've scheduled a quiz. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Hold on a minute. Let me go back. Okay, here. If you guys see this. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, you can learn a couple of things about how I set this thing up. First of all, we have 205 points and only 15 questions. So each question is between 10 and 15 points apiece. You have a time limit of 200 minutes. This test is available from September 19th at 12 a.m. to September 26th at 11:59 p.m. So that's just kind of how I've set it up. You have a full 7 days to do it. So then the question is, well, what about the module here where it says the test? I'll show you. So you guys will see here, it says quiz 1, September 21st. So you click on this, you will see this, right? So you don't need to show up on this day. However, if your test taking experience is disastrous and you have some major problem, come talk to me on this day. You can also come to my office hours. But you don't really have to be here to do the quiz. I'm going to let you guys do it using the lockdown browser at your convenience. And when you do the lockdown browser, it automatically closes Zoom and any other programs you may have open on your computer. So there's no way that you can, I can see you take the test. So what I'm doing is I'm doing two things here though. Whenever you choose to take the quiz, right, you have two things. You have a lockdown browser. That's the first point of security. And then you have the Respondus monitor, which is a webcam. This is the second point of security. So you'll be recorded while you take the quiz. And then I will have a recording of all of those quizzes that from everybody in the class. So that's kind of how that works. And I think we talked about this on Monday, but let me look at it one more time here. Hold on a minute. Let me get this. Okay, if we go to announcements, right, you can see where I'm talking about the lockdown browser here, but let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Okay, so as you look at this, you'll see here, there's specific directions on how to take a quiz, right? First of all, you have to download and install this lockdown browser. It's like a Chrome, it's like Microsoft Edge, it's like Mozilla Firefox, it's like Safari. So you need to go to this link and then download the browser that matches your computer. It'll probably give you two options. You have a lockdown for Apple and one for other operating systems. Once you've done that, you need to, when you're ready to take the quiz, right, you will open up this lockdown browser first. It automatically closes any and all programs you have on your computer. It's going to close everything. And it only allows you to, here, you want to log into Canvas. You want to go to Canvas and then navigate to the exam under the day of, what is it, September 21st. So you can navigate to that, or when it opens, Canvas will tell you, I don't know how it all works, but you'll know that there's a quiz open. So you can just find it through Canvas generally, or go into the module and find the September 21st module and click there to find the quiz that way. It says you will not be able to access an exam that requires a lockdown browser with a standard web browser. If this is tried, an error message will indicate that the test requires the use of a lockdown browser. Simply start the lockdown browser, navigate back to the exam to continue. So you have other guidelines there. Okay, any questions on that before I get into a review of the Taylor? What do we got here? Is this Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory or what? Or is this The Shining? What is the background there?
It's from a music video.
Oh, this is good. Okay, I didn't recognize it. Okay, it's good. Yeah, that's good. All right. Anybody have any questions on the procedure? So you have a whole week, find time where you have a quiet space. You can take the quiz.
Do we download it now before the test date or?
Yes. Yes, I would do that. Yeah, download it and then practice, right? Download it, open up the browser, see if you can navigate to Canvas using that browser. Yeah,
where can we find that browser?
Well, I just showed you that, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just came in. I just got out of work.
Yeah, right. You just have to go to the announcement where it talks about the lockdown browser. You have to go there and then click on that link to download it. That's how you do it.
Okay. And you said we can do it at any time for next week?
Yes, right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And then if anybody downloads the browser and you find you have massive problems and it just doesn't work, you should show up on test day or the quiz day or whatever and talk to me on that day and we'll try to figure out a plan B.
Professor, I don't know if this is the right way you're supposed to do it, but I went to the announcements and I ended up downloading the lockdown browser.
Mhm.
And I tried going as like how you said to navigate to Canvas.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure if it just said because it just said if I wanted to proceed, and it didn't. I didn't know what else to put. Like if I put yes, like it would just be like on there, but none of my applications would really leave. So I don't know if it's just.
Well, if you proceed and put yes, I think it begins closing
close
everything.
it?
Yeah, it closes Zoom. It'll close Microsoft Word if it's open. Any other browsers that are open, it'll start
Mhm.
closing all that stuff.
Okay, because I tried it last week when you posted the announcement. I tried it, and like how I said, like it showed up and everything, and I accepted it. But I'm not sure if it was because like I was just on Canvas, and I mean I had other apps that like open, but like I even went onto the modules for the Canvas, and I didn't know if possibly because I wasn't really like taking an active test. Probably that's why it
Well,
was.
did you open up the browser first and then go into Canvas that way?
Yeah.
It should close everything when you do that. So we'll find out, I guess, when you try to take the quiz.
Yeah,
you'll find out
probably.
if you're doing it correctly or not.
Okay then. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just wanted to say because I thought I went through the whole process and it seemed like I was already logged in, but I wasn't sure if it was just because I wasn't really technically taking the test
Yeah.
that's why it wasn't shutting down the things, or I don't really know how it works. I've never tried it, but we'll see
Yeah.
how it.
Well, we'll find out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let me go in. Let's take a look here. What do you guys see right now? You see me, right? Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to go in and look at the quiz briefly here. Let's take a look at it. And everything in the video covers it, but I'm going to explain a few more things and then we'll get into phonology a little bit. So let's say, okay, we go to the module. Okay, we have September 21st. Quiz 1, I click on that. Then I see the requires Respondus lockdown browser and webcam. Then I can preview it. Okay, so this is pretty basic. Okay, if you look in the workbook, share my screen here. Boy, this is going to be complicated. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen, not the wrong one. Wow. Ooh, how did it get crazy? Okay, you want to make sure that you have a definition of phonology, but not just a definition. Think about what kinds of subjects apply to this field. So one of the questions will be, with what topic is phonology most concerned? So you can look at some of the definitions here, and these are concerned with it: phonemes, assimilation, complementary distribution, minimal pair, allophones, right? So think about some of these definitions and how they connect to this particular field. Then, of course, when we introduce phonetics, we have a definition of that field. You want to make sure you know right here. It looks like it's on page 4, right? So you have phonetics and particularly articulatory phonetics. Think about that and think about what kinds of things connect to this field. So you can see here, we got different areas. If you break down phonetics specifically, articulatory, acoustic, auditory, we're focusing exclusively pretty much here on articulatory phonetics. So you can see some of the areas that are relevant to phonetics. We have phones, consonants. We have characteristics of consonants. We have characteristics of vowels. We can see that. Those are areas that connect to it. And then we get into transcription. This is how we describe how the sounds are produced in the vocal tract. We use symbols from the IPA to make those descriptions. So those are things that connect to either phonology or phonetics. Okay, let me go back to, okay, so we have that. We also know when we go into, where is it? Let me share my screen here one more time. We go into the workbook. And right in the very beginning, there's a couple of things you should be aware of. So you here, right here. This is on page, I can't see it right here. What is it? But you want to make sure that you know these two things, right? So you have prescriptive, what's right or wrong. Descriptive is more how the language works. Make sure you have working definitions here, and then you can see how these specific examples underneath each area kind of relate to prescriptive versus descriptive rules of grammar. We're approaching things more from a descriptive point of view, right? But it's good to have definitions of both of these. And I think, where is that? That's page 3 of the workbook right there. Now, like I told you before, if my computer, sometimes the Zoom will freeze up on me and I'll just Control-Alt-Delete and get out of there. And then I'll pop back into the meeting. Sometimes I have to do that. I did that twice already earlier in a class.
Are
okay.
those definitions a good definition to use for the quiz?
Yes, yes. For both prescriptive and descriptive rules of grammar.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, let's keep going. So we know what that is. Okay, we need to get into one more thing here. I want to get into the concept of what a separate phoneme is, or what allophones are briefly, because this is on the quiz. So you want to make sure you understand this stuff. Okay, give me a quick second here. Let me get to the workbook again. Okay, let's forget all that. Let's just keep going. Let's go ahead. We're going to get into phonology now. Okay, here we go. So you want to make sure that you know, I'm going to give you a couple of terms here that's going to be helpful for you for the quiz, right? I think this, definitely you want to have a good definition of that. And you need to, if I give you an example, you need to recognize that these are actually separate phonemes. You need to understand assimilation. You need to understand allophones also, what these are. Okay, so what is a separate phoneme or not? What you want to remember is phonemes are meaningful distinctive sounds in the language, right? So what might be a phoneme in one language doesn't mean it's a phoneme in another. So I'll give you an example of Spanish for a minute. So if you learn the Spanish alphabet, you'll learn the R and the R, right? So I'm thinking of two things here. So we have caro and we have carro. Or I could have put the word pero and the word perro. Now, Spanish speakers here, what can we say about the R and the R in Spanish? Would you consider them separate phonemes, or are they allophones of the same phoneme? Now, if they're separate phonemes, the question is, are they meaningful distinctive sounds? So if you substitute the R for the R, does it change the meaning of the word?
Yes, it does.
It does.
It does. So my Spanish speakers, can you explain to the rest of the class pero, carro, or pero, carro, carro, and perro? Tell us what's going on there.
So for pero, it means butt, and caro
Good.
means expensive, carro means car, and perro means dog.
Yes, good, good. So we now know that the translations, we go from, you said the word but here, and you're saying the word expensive here. I can't fit it all, but that's expensive. And we have car, and then we have dog, right?
Yes.
So because these two sounds are meaningfully distinctive, we would say that they are separate phonemes. There is no doubt about it at all. So we can say that. So English and Spanish are different. Now, I'm going to show you guys something in English for a minute. Now, in English, if you go up into Scotland, northern Scotland, different areas of Scotland, you do actually get a trilled R. Richard has a red car or something. They trill their R's up there a little bit. That's different from what we do in the States, right? So let me look at this. Okay, so we're going to say that in Scottish brogue, in a particular dialect of English, and you could probably argue that Scottish brogue and say Appalachian English, right? You could probably put these on two ends of the what we call the language spectrum. If you go any more than that, you get a completely different language. That's how radical these two dialects are, right? So we're going to put here, we're going to say R is a phoneme, right? And we're going to say in Scottish English, we can realize we have Richard more with just Richard, the retroflex liquid R, but then we have Richard more with a trilled R. But the thing is if we trill the R like they do in Spanish here, or if we just use it as a normal R in English, it doesn't really change the meaning of the word. We're still talking about Richard. You guys see what I'm saying? So I'm going to say that the two R's in English, even though one might be pronounced different than the other, these are actually allophones of the same phoneme R, because they're not meaningfully distinctive in English, even though they're meaningfully distinctive in Spanish. So that's the concept of what's called phonemes. Phonemes are meaningfully distinctive sounds. Allophones are not meaningfully distinctive sounds. So you want to make sure you know those two kind of concepts. Now, I'm going to give you one more to illustrate English. I'm going to give you another example of an allophone in English. And notice as we look at these definitions, right? We look at linguists, when we look at phonology, there's three main things we look at, right? First of all, number one, what sounds are meaningfully distinctive? Number two, the different forms of realizations of the phonemes in the language. Then three, the environment in which the allophones occur. So basically it means when we look at the possible realizations there, this is looking at what's called complementary distribution. That's the second thing we look at in phonology. And the third thing is the allophone. So first, what phonemes exist? And then how do they occur in the language? And then what are some of the allophones in the language? Think about that. I'm going to show you one more here. So we have the P, right? We have pot. We'll put it like this. When I put the H there, it means it's aspirated more. And then we have the word spot. Let's say it's not aspirated very much. We can say that. So in this case, we have the P phoneme, right? Now, the question is, I'm going to throw this to the class here for you guys. So if you look at the word pot and the word spot, This, if you say spot, the P, spot, spot, it really isn't aspirated that much if you feel the air coming out of your mouth. Now, if you say pot, you can feel a lot of air coming out when the P's in the beginning of a word, right? So these are two types of P's in English. However, are they meaningfully distinctive in English? For example, if you substitute the one sound for the other, if I say pot or I say spot, does it change the meaning of those words? If you substitute the one sound for the other,
Yes.
how does it change the meaning? I don't see it. If I say
Doesn't change it. It
No,
just sounds different.
right, it's a different pronunciation, but it's still the same word. If I say pot or spot, it isn't really changing the meaning. So both of these, they go back to this definition here. They're non-distinctive realizations of the same phoneme. Why? Because if you substitute this sound for that sound, either way, it's still the same word. It would seem a little odd to pronounce it that way, but it's definitely not going to change the meaning of the word. So if I give you an example, I'm going to do something like this on the test, right? I'll say, how about this? Or let me give you this. If I give you these two, the B and then the P, I might say, and we use slanted lines for phonemes. Okay, I'm going to say to you, are the B and the P separate phonemes in English language? It'll be more of a matching question, but if you look at the B and the P, are they? Does anybody know?
Yes.
They are. Now, here's a question. If you can create a minimal pair, they're actually separate phonemes. That's the test. So look at this. I'm doing this transcription, and then I'm doing this one. You guys see what I'm doing there? Now, a minimal pair says two words. We have one word. We have two words. That's easy. Two words that differ only by a single sound in the same position and have different meanings, but are otherwise identical. So notice how we have the B in the first position, the P's in the first position. Now, these words are identical other than that because they have two sounds, and the third sound is the B and the P, right? So we can say that if you change that one sound in the same position, right? If I say bit versus pit, we have changed the meanings of these words. So we can go back and say, yes, the B and the P in English are separate phonemes. We can answer that resoundingly, yes. So that's the concept I want you to know for the quiz.
Professor, would sheet and cheat be a minimal pair as well?
Say again.
Sheet and cheat, like the
Let's
girl
look
cheat-
at it. Let's look at it. Let me see. I got to look at them.
The only difference would be the spelling, but
Yeah, but then let's look at it. So we have the S hat check, we have the little I, we have the T. I want to make sure, right? I want to answer. And then we have the C hat check. The answer is yes.
okay.
These
was
are
just-
minimal pairs, exactly, because there's three sounds in each word, and each sound is different in the first position there. It could have been the last position, could have been in the medial position, but yeah, those are examples of minimal pairs.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of words that rhyme are minimal pairs. Dr. Zeus, and they're canceling him now, but Dr. Zeus is a master at using minimal pairs to teach young readers how to understand different sounds in different words, like the cat in the hat and all those things. Okay, what else do we need to talk about here? Okay, I wanted to get that concept there. Okay, let me go back. Give me a quick second here. Let me make sure you guys are seeing me. Okay, you see me, right? I just pushed the wrong. I don't need that. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, so I covered that. So far in the quiz, I've covered Phonetics, I've covered phonology. You need to know definitions there. You need to have a definition of prescriptive, descriptive approaches. You need to understand the concept of what is a separate phoneme or what is an allophone. And then you have transcription practice, right? So it's something like this. If I give you, let me go back. Let me go to, now let me share my screen here. I'll go back to this. So it'll be something like this. It'll say, can I annotate here? You'll see a word in brackets, right? It might be, I'm getting it wrong here. So it'll say like this, then it'll say is written as, then you have a blank like this. So if you look at that word, what do you see?
Duck.
So then you just need to do this. You just got 15 points, move on to the next question. You're going to see that 5 times. You guys see what we're saying? So
Yeah.
it'll be written, it'll be written in. Notice how I'm using the wedge in there. So whenever you see transcriptions, I'll use every symbol in the book. But then when it comes to your transcribing words, you can only use what's on your keyboard. So I'm not going to require any use of any special symbols that you can't use with your keyboard. So let me clear this and I'll show you another example of what that looks like. Okay, then it'll be something like this. Make sure I can edit this. Let me share here. So I'll have a word like this. I might say, no, that one wouldn't work. If I said, it'll be something like this. And then you'll have a blank. It'll say Mike is written phonetically as, and then you just have to something like this, but I wouldn't put any spaces in there because then it's going to give you no points. So you would just do that. And you
Would we
don't,
be able to do dashes? Like if we're writing something phonetically, could we put M dash?
no. You'll get 0 if you do that. It's going to mess it up.
Oh, okay.
I just programmed it to recognize it like that.
Okay.
And even it might be better here to just don't even use upper caps only when it makes a difference with vowels. I would do it something like that. So it's written phonetically as, and then you would just write that and then move on to the next question. So you're going to see that question. Let me look at it. You see that one about 4 or 5 times, and that's worth 15 points apiece.
Professor,
Yes.
so you don't want us to write our answer in with the closed parentheses signs? You just want the word?
Right. It says in
Okay.
for the phonetics, it do not use brackets in the answer because that it makes it complicated to read brackets and things in the quiz. So just write the symbols, put the symbols in the space provided with no spaces and nothing else.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. And remember that it'll be really simple. But what you have to be careful about is you have to remember that if I give you this word, right, and you transcribe it, right, you have to remember here, you're going to do it like that. But if I gave you this word, you do have to do M and then the big,
Can you share your screen?
oh yeah, sorry. Thought I was doing that.
And
Okay.
Professor, you said that you're going to double check how the computer grades it, correct? To
Ye-
make sure that if
Yeah,
we
yes.
points or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to do that. That means it's going to set me back hours, but I will do that. And then anybody has problems, you're going to pop into my Zoom office anyway, but wait until the whole week is over and then all the quizzes are finished. And then I'll go in there and do that. So I'm not going to go in there and do that probably till a week from Monday or maybe Sunday evening or something. I'll start going in, but just be careful. Do you see how there's a difference between the capital I and the lowercase I? You see that? So you want to remember that the lowercase u, uppercase U makes a difference in your transcriptions. The lowercase e, uppercase E will make a difference. So you want to remember that. Okay, any other questions on that? This kind of gives you a general idea of what you can expect. And I'm talking about phonology in a little bit more detail in just a minute. Does that all make sense so far?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's all ready, right? It's just going to magically all of a sudden be ready Sunday, right? Sunday through the next. So this whole week, it'll be ready for you. Okay, let's look at one more thing for today and we will be done here. Okay, let me go over to, is this it? Okay, here we go. Let me make the, okay, got it. Okay, now let me share my screen one more time. And remember that some of you will have problems. It's fine. We will work it out. We'll resolve it. We will figure it out. If you have a problem with taking the quiz, that's when you want to come by my office if you can do that. We can usually resolve things like that through the office hours. That's a good way to do it. So don't panic. Don't send 15 different emails in one day. Just remember that I realize there will be problems. We have to figure this stuff out. That's why I have, I think, I have about 6 hours of availability to talk to you guys with those kinds of things. Now, if you cannot go during that time, then send the email. Let me know what the problem was, what happened, and I'll have to figure out what to do at that point. Okay, you guys see this? Okay, let's go to phonology for a little bit, just a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into it today, but I'll be happy to get out of phonetics and phonology. This is the real tedious, really difficult stuff. We're going to put this behind us here pretty soon. Okay, this is it right here, right? Okay, here we go. Okay, the other thing I wanted to bring up. Are you seeing my screen? You see the workbook like I'm seeing, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, good. Okay, so the idea of assimilation, right? I want to make sure you're on board with this, right? So let me give you an example of how assimilation works. Where is it? We'll probably do this. Let me give you something simple today. I don't want to get too deep into this. Okay, right here. So then we have these 3, right? So we can see after the word books, we're looking at the S, right? The question is, how do we pronounce the S? So in the first case, we can say that the S is an S. In the second case, the S is sounding more like a Z. And then in the third case, it sounds more kind of like we're creating a whole new syllable. What did I just do here? What is all this nonsense? Who knows? And how did that get in there? I don't know what I'm doing. So kind of like this. So the question is, I think these examples kind of go back to this definition here. So the definition says a process by which a sound becomes more like a nearby sound in terms of some feature. So it looks like the S, when it comes after the voiceless K, a voiceless consonant, the S resumes that same voiceless property. But when the S comes after the syllabic L is a voice consonant, then the S sounds more like a Z. And then when the S comes after the S sound, peace, it looks like in this case, we have to create a whole new syllable in order to recognize that grammatical plural S ending. So it looks like that what's happening here is or demonstrates examples of assimilation. So I'm going to show you something similar to this. And it's just it's a multiple choice question, right? Now, when we get to a test, I might ask you to write something about it, something very short. I might say write 50 words about what you see or something. But in this case, these examples, they demonstrate this idea of assimilation. So that's what I want you to realize there. Okay, a couple of other things, and then we'll finish up for today. Let me see what else here. Okay, we talked about this a little bit. Okay, how about this? You remember how we're talking about the aspirated and unaspirated P in English, right? Right, so we have and Cindy, I want you to look closely here. And remember how we said in English, we said that the P has two different ways of doing it. We can aspirate it or we don't. We have like the word pot, or we have the word spot. And we said in English, we said that the two realizations of the phoneme P are actually allophones because they're not meaningfully distinctive variations of the phoneme. But I want you to look at Cindy now from India and Pakistan. So we have Banu, which has this meaning. We have Panu, which has this meaning. So then here's my question. Are the P and the aspirated P separate phonemes in Cindy? How do you know? Can somebody answer that one?
Would it be
Is
yes
it the capital?
the word so much?
Say again, say more.
Would it be yes because it makes the word so different?
Yes. The answer here is yes, right? And for there's a few ways you could answer it. You could say yes because the meaning of the word changes when you substitute the one sound for the other. That's one way to look at it. You could say yes because you can create a minimal pair using those two sounds in Cindy. So if you look at Panu, there's 4 sounds. If you look at Panu, there's 4 sounds, right? And have you guys noticed if you talk to people from this area of the world, you'll notice a very noticeable difference in how they pronounce the P in English. Have you noticed that? If you talk to people that's second language learners who speak Cindy as a first language, when they speak English, you'll notice a distinct difference in how they pronounce the P in English. Or if you talk to Japanese and Korean people, you'll notice they confuse the R and the L consonant sounds in English, right? Why do they do that? In Korean and Japanese, the R and the L sound are the same sound. They're not separate phonemes. So that explains why they have a lot of difficulty when they try to learn right at the light, turn right at the light. My Japanese students say turn right at the right. it's going to be hard for them to say the L because they don't see that as being a different sound in their language. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today. So in this case, we'd say yes. And Cindy, the P and aspirated P are separate phonemes because the meaning changes in the word when you substitute the one sound for the other. That's what you would say with that. I think that's it. There it is. So that's just a little bit of phonology going on there. Does anybody have any questions? Now let's keep our fingers crossed, right? So to end the class, right? I'll say this one more time, that you have to open the lockdown browser first. You must open that on your computer. At that point, the browser is the only thing you're going to be able to use on your computer, right? So then once you've opened the lockdown browser, then you go into your Coyote or you go into Canvas, you find our course, you find the quiz, and you remember your webcam has to work, right? It needs to work. It will not allow you to take it without the webcam. So that's kind of how it's going to work. All right, there we go. I think that's
Okay, I
it.
have a question really quick.
Go right ahead.
I was just wondering if you're gonna have this recording on Canvas as well for review.
Yeah, I will post. I'll probably post them tomorrow, or maybe tomorrow, or the next day. I'll put them in there. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right. You're welcome. And remember that everything I've talked about, I already have it in like a 1 minute and 40-second video. You know, it's all in that video, but this is just a more detailed way of doing it. And I want to be particularly detailed when I'm teaching online like this with you guys. I don't want anything to fall through the cracks. And we got 34 people here. That's a good sign. That's almost, we got 5 people MIA, but that's pretty good. So I'm hopeful that we all can get this thing done. Remember that at the end of the week, I will go through and add points as is appropriate. So your grade will go up, say 20, 30 points in many cases. So just be patient on that. All right. Okay, I think that's it.
Thank you, Professor.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Thank you. So we're meeting up Tuesday?
Say again?
Do we meet up on Tuesday or Thursday?
I will be here on Tuesday. I'm gonna pop in, and I would only go to the class on Tuesday if you have problems or you have questions. Maybe you have some questions about the quiz. Why not?
Oh, I got you.
You can certainly come by then. I don't have any planned lecture, but I will pop in. I will be here if you need to talk to me.
Sounds good, Professor. Thank you.
Yeah, I got plenty of grading, believe me.
Sure.
Is the what time is the test open from?
It's I think it starts on the 19th through the 26th. So Sunday through Sunday, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, or Saturday night, something like that.
Thank you.
All
See
right,
you
you're welcome.
next week.
Okay, all right. We'll come back for a lecture on Thursday. That's what we'll do.
Professor, are you gonna grade easier if the Cowboys win?
Yeah. Who they playing this week?
You guys got the Chargers.
Okay, so that shouldn't be that bad, right?
No, I don't know. You know, I just heard you guys lost DeMarcus Lawrence. He broke his foot, so he's gonna be out for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Crap.
Yeah.
Well, the Cowboys, they're going to be 50-50. They're terrible. They've been terrible for 2 decades now. So they'll probably win 6 or 7 and lose 5 or something. That's what they're going to do.
No, I was impressed with Dak Prescott, the way he came back. He
Passed for 403 yards,
Yeah.
but then he's going to start getting confidence. He'll start trying to run again. He's going to get pounded.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what did him in before. He starts flipping over people into the touchdown and whatever. He starts taking a lot of risks. Watch Tom Brady. He doesn't run.
No, he
He
doesn't.
stays in the pocket. He stops. He trusts his receivers. He fires the ball out. He passes it. He hands it off to a running back when he needs to. And he survived all these years. But the people that do the crazy stuff, they don't last very long. They get injured.
Yeah,
The
that's
qu-
true.
He's a quarterback. He needs to throw the ball. He needs to let Zeke Elliott do his job and the other people, let them do the running. He needs to pass. He's
Yeah.
a good quarterback, but I got my doubts. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. But
I
I'm
don't know.
for it. As a Raider fan, very excited for Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah. Well, you guys just had a really good game the other day, right?
Oh yeah, we played the Ravens, beat them overtime.
Yeah, right.
In
That was a
football,
great
yes,
game.
sir.
I heard. I didn't get to see. I watched some games on Sunday. I started watching the Saints and the Packers. I'm like, what is going on there? I got rid of that and I went to the Chiefs game and crap.
It was a good
And
game.
they ended up winning at the Chiefs at the end like that, being down 12 points. I couldn't believe that one. That was a good game to watch.
That was a good game. Good,
Yeah,
good.
I just go through and watch what I can watch when I have time, and sometimes I can watch the Cowboys but you got to go back to Troy Aikman, and the problem is that stupid the owner Jones guy. That guy starts interfering and trying to tell the coach what to do and
Very
stuff.
young, yeah,
And
trying to call plays.
he
Yeah.
micromanages things. He needs to stay away from the field. He's the owner. That's fine. Let the people do the recruiting and bring in the people. He needs to stay out of it. He's a curse.
Jerry Jones? I don't know. He's the money. He's the money.
Well, he's got a lot of money, but he doesn't help them win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He needs to stay away from it, I think. And
You guys are gonna be good.
maybe they might do better. I don't know. Who knows?
You guys are gonna be good. Dak Prescott just needs to stay healthy. And you guys
Yeah.
definitely, especially in the division you're in. No serious contenders too.
See, that's another problem. There's not a lot of good teams down there, right? And then they actually play a good team, and they'll be within 2 or 3 points, but they still lose. So
we'll see. It's week 1,
right,
long season. I'm rooting for you guys heavily, except for Thanksgiving. When
who's your team? You like the Raiders or the Chargers? Who do you like?
I'm the Raiders.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So on Thanksgiving, I don't know, Professor. It's gonna be tough. It's the Raiders and Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
We're playing on. You mean we're not playing the Redskins?
No.
I mean not the Red. I can't say Redskins anymore. Crap, I didn't remember that. The Washington football team. Wow, we usually play Washington on Thanksgiving. Yeah. Oh, that'd be a great game. Yeah. Everybody likes to watch the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. That's a tradition.
Yeah, Cowboys, America's team. You guys are on primetime every week.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right.
All right, Professor. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. See you later.